Welcome to episode 118, Non-Founder Self-Made Billionaires. This is an outline of episode 118. Today's question: do you have to found your own company to be super rich? The answer is no, and here I give you 7 examples, in descending order of wealth. Example number 1, Steve Ballmer. He is the richest, with a net worth of $33 billion.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Balmer! I have 4 words for you. I love this company. Yes!
Example number 2, Eric Schmidt. He was CEO of Google.
Yes, that engineers would have jobs at all. We might be doing other things. Of course, we wanted to be engineers. But I pressed forward. The computer that I used in college has as its replacement in roughly the same building a computer that is 100 million times more powerful. I went to visit it. Right? That's a lot of change, right, in that period of time. So if we're in this sort of age of abundance that I'm describing now, what happens after this? How does this transition? And I'm convinced that the age of abundance leads to the age of intelligence.
Example number 3, Joseph Tsai. He is vice chairman of Alibaba.
I am responsible for the strategic M&A and investments of the company. So think of strategic investments and M&A as playing a game of Go, okay? In the game of Go, the objective is to put the pieces on the board, on the chessboard, and surround your opponent eventually. But you can start anywhere on the chessboard, and you can finish anywhere on the chessboard. You could be like, we bought Youku. Why? Because we want to get into the online video business. Why is that? Because we want to serve more consumers, and because we think that's an extension of consumption.
Example number 4, Matt Whitman, self-made in eBay, currently CEO of Hewlett-Packard.
And also in 1999, we decided to take the company global. And I think in one of our best decisions, I had some advice early on that if you're going to go global, go soon and go fast. And so in 1999, we launched ebay.co.uk, bought a company called Alando, which is now eBay Germany, and began to build our international presence. And the first clue was that there were users who were using ebay.com from 200 countries. And this was a clue that maybe this concept was going to be as relevant in Argentina as it was in Germany, as it was in China. So we went global quite early, and you can see that the company was beginning to change pretty fast. It wasn't until 2000 that we actually introduced fixed price and eBay stores. And you might find that a little unusual because up until that time, eBay was auction only. And if you think about it, we actually taught average people to do business in an auction format when most people had only done business at a Sotheby's or a Christie's, and that was the rarefied air of consumers around the world. In 2002, we made one of the smartest moves we've ever made, which was the acquisition of PayPal, and I'll talk.
Example number 5, Charles Simeone. He was Microsoft Chief Engineer for Windows 95, Word, and Excel.
Hungary was a relatively poor country, and it lived on hand-me-downs, for example, from the Soviet state. So we had a computer that was obsolete even by Soviet standards, and the Soviet standards were, of course, quite ways behind. I remember going to a public lecture by Steve Jobs, and I was very nice business. But most importantly, he had an incredible vision. He understood the future much better than the so-called titans of the industry did at the time. He knew that personal computing, there would be a computer on every desk. He knew that the prices are going to come down. He knew that software was the key. He knew about graphical user interfaces. In terms of performance, they were really pathetic. In the early 1970s, to have a personal computer, to give a person his or her own computer, that was really a heretic thought and almost unthinkable. And
example number 6, Jonathan Gray, age 47, head of real estate at Blackstone.
We think real estate investors sometimes are too grounded in the past, but if you step back, dig into the data, see the trends that are actually emerging, it allows you to have a little bit of a better perspective. And in real estate today, the action's all in the big cities. There's a powerful trend of reurbanization that's happening in the US and around the world. Young people are choosing cities where innovation is taking place. And this is happening now at an accelerating rate. Some people say, oh, is it just a moment in time? No, I think this is what it's going to be for a much longer period to come. Given changes in terms of mobile devices, sharing economy, people's willingness to take risk, yes, a little bit about when people are getting married, crime rates coming down, all of that's coming together, and that's having this very powerful impact. If you look at cities like New York, Boston, Seattle, they've had more population growth in the last 5 years than they did in the previous 50 years.
Example number 7, Sheryl Sandberg, age 47. She is Chief Operating Officer of Facebook.
I think the most important thing about growing a business successfully is thinking ahead about where you're going to be. The first, and I think the most important, is to think big. And my favorite definition of leadership is the art of accomplishing more than the science of management says is possible. Something that can change the world. So, my favorite example, connecting the world, which was Mark Zuckerberg's vision for Facebook. That's the kind of thing that excites people and motivates them.
What have I learned today? There are 500 ways to become self-made billionaires. Working for someone else is one of them. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.